Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Chandali. I'm a licensed esthetician. I am also the host of this YouTube channel here, Chandali the Esthetician, and I make fun videos to inspire estheticians who are along their journey. So if you are interested or you are curious about how to start becoming an esthetician, what it's like, a day in the life, any of the vibes, make sure you subscribe down below. Today's video is no different. I am actually going to be doing a fun question and answer video to celebrate 1 year of being in business. It is so wild to think that a year ago I was talking to you guys about signing the lease to my very own studio suite. I'm also going to share with you guys my 5 secrets to starting and launching your own business. So if you are curious, make sure you keep on watching. All right guys, so yes, Skin is in originally became a conceptual idea in November of 2022. I remember touring the spaces and I remember taking you guys with me on the tours, and I was just like, oh my God, I cannot believe I am about to sign the lease. Here we are today in my huge new space. This is really just like an appreciation video. I would not be here creating all of this amazing dope ass content if it wasn't for you guys. So starting with the most common question that I am asked, how much money did it take to launch my first studio space? Y'all are really trying to be in my business, I will tell you. So let's talk about it. The cost to open your own suite is going to vary for anyone, but my recommendation and what my mentors have shared with me and what I have deduced over my time in running a business is you want at least 3 to 6 months of your expenses covered. So the first thing you need to figure out is how much can you afford, and then you need to multiply that by the number of months that you need to afford it for, right? You need to be able to cover that pricing for at least that amount of time, because in opening a business, there is a substantial amount of cash flow, working capital required to run a business. Before I had opened my business, I really didn't know anything about that. So to go all the way back, that's the right answer. Now I'm going to tell you what I did. I had about 3 months saved of money before I was like, okay, I am just at the place where I was working up the spa and salon suite and I just could not take it anymore. I was like, you know what? I am ready to go out on my own. I'm ready to do this. I felt comfortable with the clientele base that I had built. If I had not built that base, I probably would not have been as comfortable. I know people launch their own businesses without any clientele. I do think that is more risky. So if you can have a guaranteed, set number of clients, maybe make a goal of like 10 or 15 clients that you know are going to come to you consistently. And start there. Obviously, I do think that you need more clients to run a business. I have about 100 clients now that come in on a reoccurring basis, but you will learn in business that there are going to be an influx of clients, and there is going to be times where you are in a drought or you are looking to gain more clients. And so the more that you have, the better. But just to get started, the question of how much money did it take, I actually just recently am going through a course that gave me the knowledge to understand how much money it realistically took. When I first launched my business, I'm just gonna be honest with you guys, I had no idea this was how much money I was spending because I was working at the same time. So as I was working, I was earning an income which allowed me to save more. So if you can work as long as you possibly can to save as much money, that is going to always and forever be my answer. I get it. It's not always the answer people are looking for, but I worked 7 days a week for about a year to save up the money to open my studio. So I hope that helps you. So let's get into the brass tacks. People always want to know exactly the amount of money. So I made an entire video where I walked you through, and I will link it up here, what I bought for my first studio suite. Obviously, I was working somewhere at the time, so yeah, money-wise, it took about $13,000 to open my business when it was all said and done, and that's based off of my variable expenses and my fixed expenses. So let's go into the second question. What is something that you wish you would have known before you launched your business that you know now? And that is the difference between fixed expenses and variable expenses. I wish I would have had a better understanding of business terminology before I had opened my business, because these things directly impact your ability to grow a business. And it also can tell you and show you more information about why you're not growing, areas that you can expand or save or just be more strategic. And so what I wish I would have known was understanding expenses in general. What are set expenses that you're going to have every month, regardless of having clients? Those are fixed expenses. So whether you make $1 or not, that is completely irrelevant to the fact that you have to pay rent every single month or week or however you set up your agreement. So you don't want to be in a situation where you are, not being able to cover your fixed expenses. So you always need to know what your fixed expenses are. So just to give you some examples of what fixed expenses are, and I would not recommend taking me as, the holy grail. I recommend that you go and seek out resources, business classes in your area, different programs. You don't have to do these long drawn out, you don't have to go to school for business, but you need to understand business, okay? Like that is just, there's no way around it. If you don't understand business, then you will never really get where you're going. Okay, so fixed expenses are things like your rent is pretty set. You know for a fact that you're going to have to pay your rent, your booking site fee. You know for a fact in order to book clients, you have to have that fee covered. So these are things that you have to make at a bottom line. At the end of the day, you have to make that money. That is how you break even. So you know for a fact that pricing wise, you have to cover those expenses. So I recommend sitting down and thinking through every single expense that you might possibly have that could be considered a fixed expense. So in addition to that, you will have something called your variable expenses. Variable expenses are very different, whereas a variable expense kind of is affected and impacted by you making money. So for example, a variable expense is you don't know exactly the cost of inventory every month, because depending on the number of clients you have, that inventory expense can fluctuate. You order six bottles of product for cleanser versus other months where maybe you're ordering more moisturizer, or other months you notice that you're doing more chemical peels. So now that variable expense went up. So you need to start projecting what are some expenses that could happen if you do get clients. And after you do that, then you should have a really good idea. You take all of that, you add it together, and you can divide that by the number of days that you work, the number of services that you do, whatever. But you need to start understanding like how many, with all that broken down, how many services am I going to have to do in order to earn a profit? And so there's a lot of different ways that you can determine this, but I highly recommend that you take a business class. So what I wish I would have known now, what I wish I would have known then when I was opening my business, versus what I know now, is understanding expenses and what cost is, so that I know how to be able to tell if I'm making money. Number 3, girl. Okay, so number 3 is actually super important. This one here was something that I really didn't understand until like coming into the end of my business. And I can't say end, but coming into the wrap of my first year in business is closed mouths do not get fed. So for example, if you want to have a better experience with a manufacturer or a product company, or you want to negotiate something, a contract, you have to know what you are asking for, because if you don't ask for it, people are not going to just be like, let me give you a discount on this. They're not going to be like, well, oh, you just got started, let me give you 5 for the price of 3. Like, you're just not going to get that. But people are getting that. I just negotiated an incredibly amazing leasing agreement. You can negotiate, is the moral of the story, what it is that you need. So never take the price as the price. So if you're going and you're touring places and they're like, sorry, that's just what we can do, have a walk away price and be ready to walk away from it. But do not be afraid to negotiate what you need. Number 4. So the 4th tip that I think is really important is Continuing education. Invest in yourself. More before you invest in a business, you need to invest in your knowledge base, because you have to understand that people are not just coming to you for the heck of it anymore. They are coming to you because they believe that you are the best at what you do. And they believe that you're going to provide that kind of experience. So you need to determine real quickly, what kind of service provider are you going to be? What is going to set you apart from the rest? And invest in that. If that's knowing the best knowledge in the area, then you should know that for a fact. If that's giving the best home care recommendations, then you should know what that is. If that's the best experience, then you should be able to stand on that. I'll give you an example of a pitch. Hi, my name is Chandali Gullick. I'm a licensed esthetician located in the northeast side of Wichita, Kansas. I am the proud founder of Skin Is In Studios. Skin Is In is really a love letter to my younger self. I struggled with finding my own beauty within. I struggled with looking in the mirror and loving what I seen back. So when I got older, I realized that that was really due to a large lack of knowledge towards understanding skin of color. So when I had the opportunity, I went to school to become a licensed esthetician in my industry so that I could provide my clients with the best experience and knowledge when it comes to skin of color. So those are just some examples of some ways that you should be able to pitch your business at the drop of a hat, right? So I really want you to work on continuing education courses, but understanding your point of difference. And those could probably be two separate issues, but they really go hand in hand if you want to be successful out here in this world. So. Okay, guys, sorry, I had to look at the question. Okay, so this question here was asking me about how can I please do a video about how I maintain my social life and how I maintain my personal life and my business life as being a solo esthetician. That is a great question, because sometimes I do feel like I don't do this that well. But I try to be very transparent about that, especially on my Instagram. Always telling you guys like, oh, I'm so busy. My personal life actually really is a lot of business. It's very heavy right now into my business life. Gosh, girl, why'd you put me on the spot with that question? No, that is a good question, because really it's a hard one to answer. But okay. So a couple of things that I do to maintain like a good personal life and business life balance is I do take time off of work now. I don't work on Wednesdays and I do not work on Fridays. Fridays I don't work because my wife is off on Fridays, so it's nice for us to get to spend time together and connect, because I'm always busy and working between YouTube, podcasting, running my business, brand ambassador for Circadia. I just accepted a partnership with Cosmo Glow Light, and also I'm partnered with Zimmets as a brand ambassador. I live and breathe off of my calendar. I am a huge advocate for my calendar. If it's not on my calendar, I'm not doing it. You can count it. I'm not going to be there, because I really struggle with accountability. So my calendar keeps me accountable. My calendar has my schedule on it. It has time blocking. I schedule lunch for myself. I schedule days off in advance. I look at my calendar in advance to make sure that I am making sure I'm doing what I need to do to make sure I'm okay. Because if I'm not okay, I can't just keep working like until I can't work anymore, because girl, that just doesn't work for me mentally. And then I'm traveling a lot. I probably travel 25% of the month at this point doing trade shows. We just wrapped up our last show in Miami, so I'm actually really excited to have a small little break, but I have 2 companies that are trying to get me to work for them as trade shows. It's just a lot, girl. So good question. I will let you know when I have an answer. One of my biggest things that I am doing that helps me a ton is I am meditating. Guys, to give you my 5th and final tip after a year of running my business, here's what I will tell you. Here's what I'm going to say, girl. Okay? Look. Nobody's journey is the same. My journey is my journey. Your journey is yours. Your friend's journey is their journey. Someone that you're going to school with is going to be someone else's journey. These people that you follow, their journey is their journey. And you might even find yourself wondering some days, like, why is that not my journey? Why couldn't that happen to me? You know, recently I applied for a scholarship for $25,000 and I did not win. I didn't even get into the like conversation to even plead my case. And a past version of myself would have actually been really upset that I didn't get it, because I believe that all things are for me. I did at that time. But the reality is all things aren't for you. Only the things that are designed for you will come for you. Only those things will be for you. So if something doesn't pan out the way that you thought, or a process isn't going in the trajectory that you thought it would be going, then that may not be for you. You might have to learn that struggle. You might have to go through that obstacle for what is coming for you. And I know that's hard, because when we're watching money bleed from our bank accounts, or we are working every day and we're like, I'm tired of working this job, you have to really take yourself back to the place of, why are you here? What is your why? And when you have a solidified why, you can get through damn near anything. I used to work this job in customer service where I made $50,000, $60,000 a year. And that was some pretty good money. And I was like, wow, this is some really good money to literally do nothing. And then, I started making like $70,000. I was like, wow, this is great. And I mean, that was kind of like the cap for that job. And I was like, yeah, I could easily do this for the rest of my life. But in order for me to do that job, I had to make 15-minute time intervals of ticks to get through a day. I'd be like, my shift would start at 9, and I'd be like, it's 9:15. I made it through 15 minutes. I can do another 15, and it'll be 9:30. And then I can do another 15 minutes, and it'll be 9:45. Then I can do another 15 minutes, and it will be 10 o'clock. And I would 15-minute increment my way through the day. And even though the offset was I had a stable income coming in, I was running myself to the ground. Could I have continued to do that? For sure. Fortunately for me, I decided to take a risk that paid off. I signed up, I did a TV show, I had a great time. In doing that TV show, I did a lot of self-work, a lot of shadow work. I learned about my ancestors, my heritage. I just took time off to be from work. I had never done that. And I had saved money to do it. And I knew that realistically I would have to get a job. My plan was that I was going to win this money from this show and I wasn't going to have to work no more. But that's not how the plan worked out, right? I didn't win the money from the show and I did still need to work. But I decided I was going to go to school for aesthetics, and I started researching and learning more about it, and I enrolled in school. You guys seen that journey, and you've seen how that's played out for me to this day. I never in a million years would have thought that I would be here in this position right now, doing something that I love, where I don't count the minutes ever. The only time I'm counting the time is making sure I'm ready to show up for the next appointment. I don't hate working. I love what I do. I love it with a passion. And, I will get to a place to where I make the money that makes me happy, and gives me that financial stability. But I also kind of changed my relationship with money and how much I needed to be fulfilled, what I was willing to trade. That time exchange has been substantial for me and my family. I've missed practically nothing. I'm showing up to all of the events. I'm present. I'm accounted for. I'm there. There are the exchanges of time exchange for my business, but my family would take that over watching me suffer through something I didn't love. And I'm not saying you don't, that has to be running a business. I'm saying find what you love to do, whatever that is, and you're gonna have to work for sure. That ain't a question. I can't stand the saying you'll never work a day in your life. That is a lie, but you will not feel like it. That is true. And there are gonna be days that are just harder than others. There are days all the time that I think to myself, it would just be easier to work somewhere else. It would be easier not having to have the responsibility of trying to pretty much conjure up out of thin air employment for myself and income for myself. but also my relationship with money is changing. I'm changing the way I think about time exchange for money and making my money work for me. How can I make my money do things that I can't do all the time, right? I'm not always going to be this young forever. So I'm thinking about what is my next strategy? What is my next plan? And a big part of that is this community here and cultivating resources for you guys. So I hope this video is helpful. I hope it's inspiring. We're getting ready to come into the new year. So I feel like, you know, we always need a little pep talk coming into the new year. It's hard, and a new year is not easy to pretty much say like, I am willing to make the sacrifices now to get that long-term gain. But in doing so is really what changes things for you. And I want that for you. I hope you guys continue to come and meet me at the trade shows and tell me about your journeys. You know, it wouldn't be me if I didn't sit down and have like a cry moment, but I don't feel like crying at all. I just am so incredibly happy and grateful to be here in this position with you guys. So I'm going to leave you guys with this. There is no excuse to not seek out the knowledge. I understand not knowing something, but there's no reason to not want to know something. You have to go out there. You have to do some of these things that we have done. You know, sometimes I'm asked these questions like, well, what's this and what's that and what's this? And it's like, you know, some of these things I came up with on my own. And that's what's working for me. So if you want to have those same things happening for you, I recommend that you come up with some answers for yourself, or at least start to seek out the knowledge, okay? There's no excuse to not seek out the knowledge. And that could be with mentorship, business acumen, product knowledge, ingredients understanding, science and chemistry, networking, marketing, editing. The list goes on. There's no excuse. So stop making excuses and start making solutions. Get yourself out there and go seek out the knowledge. It's just so important that you do. Never stop learning in this career. So if I can give you one more bonus tip, girl, and this is, I think, in my opinion, probably the most important tip, is treat your clients like nothing matters more than the experience that you have in that moment, and you will be booked forever. If you treat your clients like they're a transaction and you have to get to the next one, then you will struggle. But if you treat your clients like they are the most important thing to you, their lives, what they tell you, what they share with you, the experiences that you guys go through, the time that you guys spend together, if you treat them like that is the most important thing that matters, because it truly is in your business, then they will tell someone. And that someone will tell someone else if you give them the same experience. And that person will tell someone else. I took an entire marketing class, and as much as I absolutely love everything that I have learned from my marketing class, because I have, one of the things that Paul has mentioned to me and in his business in general, Creative Juice. If you guys don't know, I did an entire podcast episode. Go check it out. Skin is in podcast. I think it's like episode 7. I don't know for sure, but I'm pretty sure I think it's something like, or it's like episode 4. Either way, it's the Creative Juice Paul Heaslop episode. One of the things that he always talks about that I am just a complete student of is creating an experience and culture marketing. He has really crafted the ability to create customer buy-in, consumerism buy-in, by creating an experience that your clients feel a part of. My clients feel a part of my growth. You know, I shared with you guys in the beginning of this video, me showing their reactions. All of those clients are loyal clients to me. I promise you, they're not going anywhere else. So if you can create the kind of experience for your clients that make them feel included in your business, your growth, and your journey, you have the answer. That is it. That is how I am building this. That is how I am doing this. That is the secret. It's not about the amount of money. It's not about the products. It's not about the machines. All those things other people can get. What they cannot get is another Chandali Skin is an experience. I promise you that. So, what are you doing to create that standout experience for your clients? You start there. You solve that answer. You figure out that why. And you have unlocked it. I promise. So, hope you guys like this video. It wouldn't be me if I didn't leave you with a little Janet pony, right? Like, wait, who don't like a little Janet Jackson ponytail? No, okay, cool. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate you guys being here. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.